Welcome to Mind Decoded, where we explore the psychology behind human behavior. Let's decode today's topic. You reach for your phone the second you wake up. You check notifications while brushing your teeth. You scroll during breakfast. You listen to podcasts during your commute. You watch videos during every break. You binge shows while eating dinner. You check your phone one last time before sleeping. Your brain is never bored, never quiet, never unstimulated. And here's what you might not realize. This constant stimulation is changing your brain's chemistry. It's raising your dopamine baseline so high that normal activities feel boring. Work feels like torture. Conversations feel dull. Reading feels impossible. Nothing feels rewarding anymore unless it's delivering instant gratification. I experienced this firsthand. I couldn't focus on anything for more than 5 minutes without reaching for my phone. I couldn't sit with my own thoughts. I couldn't enjoy activities that used to bring me genuine satisfaction. So I tried something radical. A dopamine detox. 7 days of deliberately removing high-stimulation activities to reset my brain's reward system. Today on Mind Decoded, we're breaking down what actually happens during a dopamine detox. The neuroscience behind why your brain craves constant stimulation. What I experienced during my 7-day experiment. And whether this is actually worth doing or just another internet trend. Before we begin, a quick disclaimer. This content is for educational and informational purposes only and should not be considered medical, psychological, or mental health advice. If you're experiencing mental health concerns, please consult with a qualified mental health professional. Let's start with what dopamine actually is. Dopamine is not the pleasure chemical. That's a myth. Dopamine is the anticipation and motivation chemical. It's what makes you want things, not what makes you enjoy them. Neuroscientist Robert Sapolsky explains that dopamine spikes when you anticipate a reward. When you see a notification on your phone, dopamine surges. You feel compelled to check it. But once you've checked it, the dopamine drops. So your brain immediately starts seeking the next hit. This is why you can scroll social media for 2 hours and feel worse than when you started. Each scroll gives you a tiny dopamine spike. Maybe this next post will be interesting. Your brain is chasing anticipation, but never getting lasting satisfaction. Now here's where this becomes a problem. Your brain has dopamine receptors. When dopamine floods your system constantly, your brain adapts by reducing the number of available receptors. This is called downregulation. Your brain is trying to maintain balance. But this means you now need more dopamine to feel the same level of motivation. Activities that used to feel rewarding now feel boring. Research by Dr. Anna Lemke at Stanford shows that with constant high dopamine stimulation, your baseline dopamine level actually drops below normal. Your brain is constantly trying to get back to baseline by seeking more stimulation. This is why you can't sit still anymore. Why you can't focus. Why everything feels boring unless it's highly stimulating. Your brain's reward system is stuck in a deficit, desperately seeking dopamine hits just to feel normal. So what's a dopamine detox? The idea is simple. You remove high dopamine activities for a period of time. This allows your brain's dopamine receptors to upregulate. The number of receptors increases. Your baseline dopamine level resets. And normal activities start feeling rewarding again. Here's what I eliminated during my 7-day detox. Social media completely. No Instagram, no Twitter, no TikTok, no YouTube browsing. No video games, no streaming shows or movies. No shopping or browsing online stores. No junk food or sugar. No alcohol, no music for background stimulation. I kept work because I had to function. I kept conversations with people. I kept basic necessities like cooking and exercise. But I removed everything designed to deliver quick dopamine hits. Day 1 was hell. I reached for my phone approximately every 3 minutes. My hand would move toward it automatically. I'd catch myself opening apps I'd already deleted. I felt anxious, irritable, restless. I had no idea what to do with myself. I realized how completely I'd been using stimulation to avoid boredom and discomfort. Every gap in my day had been filled with scrolling. And now that I had to sit with my own thoughts, it was genuinely uncomfortable. Day 2 and 3 were worse. The restlessness intensified. I felt like I was missing out on everything. This is FOMO on steroids, and it's a real withdrawal symptom. But tasks I normally avoided felt slightly more tolerable. Reading a book, which had felt impossible for months, held my attention for 20 minutes. Day 4 and 5 brought a shift. The constant restlessness started to ease. I stopped reaching for my phone every few minutes. Boredom didn't feel like an emergency anymore. It just felt like boredom. I took a walk without podcasts or music. Just walking, and I actually noticed things. The way light filtered through trees. My own thoughts about projects I was working on. My brain was always occupied with external input before. Day 6 and 7 felt almost normal. I read for an hour straight. I had a conversation without any urge to check my phone. I worked on a difficult project and maintained focus for 90 minutes. Here's what the science says. Research shows that dopamine receptor density can start to increase after just a few days of removing supernormal stimuli. Neuroscientist Andrew Huberman explains that every dopamine peak is followed by a trough below baseline. If you're constantly spiking dopamine, you're creating constant troughs. Your baseline keeps dropping, but if you allow periods without artificial spikes, the baseline starts to rise. And normal activities become rewarding again. After the 7 days, I didn't stay completely abstinent. That's not sustainable, but I changed my relationship with high dopamine activities. I deleted social media apps from my phone. I can still access them on my computer, but the friction means I do it far less. I stopped watching shows while eating. I take walks without podcasts sometimes. I allow myself to be bored. And my focus improved dramatically. I can read for hours now. I can work on difficult projects without constant breaks. Conversations feel engaging again. My brain relearned how to find satisfaction in normal rewards. Now let's talk about whether you should do this. A dopamine detox won't solve depression or anxiety or ADHD. But if you can't focus, if everything feels boring, if you're constantly reaching for stimulation, it might help reset your baseline. You don't need 7 days. Even 48 hours can make a noticeable difference. The key is actually removing the stimuli, not just reducing them. Eliminate social media and endless scrolling. Video games, streaming entertainment, online shopping, junk food and sugar, alcohol, anything designed to deliver quick dopamine hits. Keep work and productive activities. Exercise, real conversations, reading, walking, cooking, creating things. These produce dopamine naturally in healthier patterns. The hardest part is sitting with boredom and discomfort. Your brain will scream at you to give it stimulation. You'll feel anxious and restless and convinced you're missing out on everything. This is withdrawal. It's temporary. It passes. Use that discomfort as information. Notice how dependent you've become on external stimulation to regulate your emotional state. Notice how little tolerance you have for quiet moments. This awareness itself is valuable. Here's what a dopamine detox doesn't do. It doesn't mean you can never enjoy social media or shows again. It's a reset, not a permanent lifestyle. It doesn't cure clinical addiction. It doesn't replace therapy if you're avoiding mental health issues. You're not weak for being overstimulated. You're a human living in an environment designed to hijack your dopamine system. Every app is optimized to keep you engaged. Your brain doesn't stand a chance unless you deliberately create boundaries. The real value of a dopamine detox isn't the 7 days of abstinence. It's what you learn about your relationship with stimulation. How dependent you are, how uncomfortable boredom feels, how much you use scrolling in shows and games to avoid being alone with your thoughts. Once you have that awareness, you can make conscious choices about technology use instead of operating on autopilot. You can choose when to engage and when to step back. You can protect your dopamine baseline instead of constantly depleting it. You're not broken. You're not lacking willpower. You're experiencing exactly what happens when a brain designed for moderate stimulation gets exposed to supernormal stimuli engineered to be addictive. A dopamine detox is just a way to reset your system and prove to yourself that you can enjoy activities that don't deliver instant gratification. Next time on Mind Decoded, we're tackling one of the most common struggles people face. Overthinking. Why your brain won't stop analyzing every decision, conversation, and situation. The neuroscience behind analysis paralysis. And the specific strategies that actually work to break the cycle. Don't miss it. And that's how the mind works. If this helped you understand yourself better, subscribe for weekly psychology insights. Thanks for watching.